Sorry, we got cut off by some kind of scammer or spammer. I'm very annoyed about that, actually. I don't know, it shouldn't be cutting off my videos, but I don't know how to make it do not disturb, so I'll have to play with it later. Anyway, we'll continue on with reading Some Other Otto, which we had just begun part 3, and so this is technically part 4. The time when I started filming this second time was 11:11. Again, the angel number sequences. Just a bit of a synchronicity. It's of no real importance, but I'm just keeping track of these things. Anyway, let us continue. I'm trying to think where we were at. Ah, yes, the smile that can't come out of nowhere. There actually were no children to speak of. Excuse me. Corinne and Wesley's boys put in a brief, unnerving appearance. When last seen, they had been surly, furtive, persecuted-looking, snickering, hulking, hairy adolescents. And now here they were, having undergone the miraculous transformation. How gratified Wesley must be. They had shed their egalitarian denim chrysalis and had risen up in the crisp, mean mantle of their class. The older one even had a wife, whom Corinne treated with a stricken, fluttery deference, as if she were a suitcase full of weapons-grade plutonium. The younger one was restlessly on his own. When, early in the evening, the three stood and announced to Corinne with thuggish placidity that they were about to leave. "I'm afraid we've got to shove off now, Ma." Otto jumped to his feet. As he allowed his hand to be crushed, he felt the relief of a mayor watching an occupying power depart his city. Martin's first squadron of children, Maureen's, weren't even mentioned. Who knew what army of relatives, step-relatives, half-relatives they were reinforcing by now? But there were, Otto shuddered faintly, Martin's two newest, lorries. Yes, just as Corinne had said, they, too, were growing up. Previously indistinguishable wads of self-interest, they had developed perceptible features, maybe even characteristics. It appeared reasonable, after all, that they had been given names. What on earth was it that William did to get children to converse? Whenever Otto tried to have a civilized encounter with the child just stood there with its finger in its nose. But Martin's two boys were chattering away, showing off to William their whole heap of tiresome electronics. William was frowning with interest. He poked at a keyboard which sent up, my nose is itchy now, which sent up a shower of festive little beeps, and the boys flung themselves at him, cheering, while Laurie smiled meltingly. How times had changed. Not so many years earlier, such a tableau would have had handcuffs rattling in the wings. The only other representative of the children to whom Corinne had referred with such pathos was Martin's daughter, Portia, Viola's. She'd been hardly more than a toddler at last sight, though she now appeared to be about, what? Well, anyhow, a little girl. "What are the domestic arrangements?" Otto asked. "Is she living with Martin and Laurie these days, or is she with her mother? That crazy Viola has gone back to England, thank God. Martin has de facto custody. Speaking of Martin, where is he?" "I don't ask," Corinne said. Otto waited. "I don't ask," Corinne said again. "And if Laurie wants to share, she'll tell you herself." "Is Martin in the pokey already?" Otto asked. "This is not a joke, Otto. I'm sorry to tell you that Martin has been having an affair with some girl." "Again?" Corinne stalled, elaborately adjusting her bracelet. "I'm sorry to tell you, she's his trainer." "His trainer? How can Martin have a trainer? If Martin has a trainer, what can explain Martin's body?" "Otto, it's not funny," Corinne said with ominous primness. "The fact is Martin has been looking very good lately, but of course you wouldn't have seen him. All those wives, and a trainer too. How? Why would any woman put up with Martin? Martin, who always used to eat his dessert so slowly that the rest of them had been made to wait, squirming at the table, watching as he took his voluptuous, showy bites of chocolate cake or a floating island long after they'd finished their own." Psychological warfare begins very early on in the piece in the family home, people of Earth. Yes, mine used to, indulge in that too. What was the other trick they had? Oh, we had to carefully measure every slice of cake to make sure that everyone got equal portions. God forbid one got a slightly bigger portion than the other. Although there was a huge outrage on my part when we were living in Germany when I was 8 for a few short months. And my sister made semolina, kind of a pudding we used to have sometimes in place of dinners because we were poor people of Earth. And she ladled quite a large portion of semolina pudding, into the bowl for my 2-year-old niece, and gave me the half portion that would have been more suitable for a 2-year-old's, need for food. Gave me the smaller portion, and I set up an outrage and a hue and a cry because even as a child I had a very large appetite and was always hungry, partially because I was almost starved to death as an infant, kept vomiting all my food up with reflux, and they had to put me into hospital because I was in effect starving. So that left me with some very quirky and weird attitudes towards food and starvation, as you can imagine. It's there in the back of my limbic brain somewhere, my survivalist mode. It's why I've always had a healthy, prodigious appetite and tended to be overweight. I've been gaining weight in recent months because, unbeknownst to me, I had an infection in my root canal tooth, an infection here, and there's an infection in here, and I hadn't registered much in the way of pain, so I was feeding myself, and I thought it was a bit odd that I was desiring more food than even I normally would partake of, but it's my survival mechanism. Don't know how I'm going to go, because I heard today, actually in a comments section on Thomas Sheridan's video, that Australia's told its population, I don't listen to the news so I wasn't apprised of this, that we have 30 days worth of fuel left, and after that we'll have to walk to the shops if we need food, or there will be food shortages, no doubt. So I had a little freak out about that, because I'm a 30-minute walk from the nearest supermarket. It takes me an hour to get there and back, and I have pain in my heel and weakness, so it's going to leave me high and dry. I'm always the one left high and dry, since I don't have the money, the resources to prep and stockpile food like other people do in these crises. And I'm sure if I went to a supermarket today, they'll have already been stripped with news like that, because the idiots go into panic mode, and they're fed this by the media to send them into frenzies like little docile little lemmings, and so there won't be much food for me when I get there anyway, and I don't get paid till tomorrow. So I would panic about that, especially as I don't have any friends to support me anymore that would help me out with food or toilet paper or what have you. So more and more my back's being pushed against the wall by other people and circumstances out of my control. So what shall I do? Just for today, I'll keep reading you stories, people of Earth. We'll live in a one-dimensional world where everything's just fine and dandy, and it's the end of the world as we know it. And I'm still in this moment, kind of, sort of. Okay. Anywho, I'm afraid it's having consequences for Portia. Do you see what she's doing? It's a bit harsh, isn't it? Your mother buggers off back to England, and your father buggers off with some piece of ass and leaves you alone with your stepmother, who you probably don't like all that much, usually, depending on the stepmother, I guess. The poor kid, I actually feel for her. Been in that position before. Shucked off from pillar to post, left only alone with more and more predators. It's beyond foul, isn't it? It's beyond foul. Never mind, people of Earth. Otto squinted over at Portia. What is she doing? Portia, come here, darling, Corinne called. Portia looked at them for a moment, then wandered sedately over. And now I'll have a word with Aunt Corinne, she said to her fist as she approached. Hello, Aunt Corinne. Oh, Portia, Corinne said. Do you remember Uncle Otto? And Uncle Otto, Portia added to her fist. She regarded him with a clear, even gaze. In its glade of light and silence, they encountered one another, serenely. She held out her fist to him. Would you tell our listeners what you do when you go to work, Uncle Otto? Well, Otto said to Portia's fist. First, I take the elevator up to the 20th floor, and then I sit down at my desk, and then I send Brian out for coffee and a bagel. Otto, Corinne said, Portia is trying to learn what it is you do. Something I'm sure we'd all like to know. Oh, Otto said. Well, I'm a lawyer, dear. Do you know what that is? Otto, Corinne said wearily, Portia's father is a lawyer. Portia's father is a global money mouthpiece, Otto said. Aunt Corinne is annoyed, Portia commented to her fist. Now, Uncle Otto and Aunt Corinne are looking at your correspondent. And now they're not. Tell me, Portia, Otto said. The question had sprung insistently into his mind. What are you going to be when you grow up? Her gaze was strangely relaxing. You know, Uncle Otto, she said, pensively to her fist. People used to ask me that a lot. Ha! Yes, that was probably something people asked only very small children, when speculation would be exclusively a matter of amusing fantasy. Well, I was only just mulling it over, Otto said. Portia, darling, Corinne said, why don't you run into the kitchen and do a cooking segment with Bea and Cleveland? It's incredible, Otto said when Portia disappeared. She looks exactly like Sharon did at that age. Ridiculous, Corinne said. She takes after her father. Martin? Stuffy, venal Martin, with his nervous eyes and scoopy nose and squashy head balanced on his shirt collar. Portia's large grey eyes, the flaxen hair, the slightly oversized ears and fragile neck recapitulated absolutely Sharon's appearance in this child, who probably wouldn't remember ever having seen Sharon. Her father, Corinne said. Martin? Portia's father? I know Martin is her father. I just can't divine the resemblance. Well, there's certainly no resemblance to Wesley. Corinne called over to him. Must you read the newspaper? This is a social occasion. Otto, will you listen, please? I'm trying to tell you something. The truth is, we're all quite worried about Portia. I'd say they should be more worried about Martin being a flippity-gibbet and a shit of a father and a husband. Always blaming it on the kids. Always. The strange little girls. We're so strange. All the abandonment and child sexual abuse, although I'm not saying that that's going on in this story, but, you know, she's ripe for the picking, isn't she? Mother gone mad and run away, father gone mad and run away. The endemic madness. Teaching little children that you can't rely on anyone to stick by you. Cowards. My God. Well, wait a minute. A projection. But it's not so much projection if it happens to be one of the things you survived. The cowardice. People of Earth. Amazing how fast one's body reacted. Fear had vacuumed the blood right through his extremities. One's body, the primeval parts of one's brain. How fast they were. Much faster than that recent part with the words and thoughts and so on. What was it? The cortex. Was that it? He'd have to ask William, he thought, his blood settling back down. That sort of wrinkly stuff on top that looked like crumpled wrapping paper. Laurie is worried sick. The truth is, that's one reason I was so anxious for you to join us today. I wanted your opinion on the matter. On what matter? Otto said. I have no idea what this is about. She's fine. She seems fine. She's just playing. I know she's just playing, Otto. It's what she's playing that concerns me. What she's playing? What is she playing? She's playing radio or something? Is that so sinister? The little boys seem to be playing something called Hammer Her Flat. I'm sure not. Oh, gracious. You and Sharon were both so right not to have children. Excuse me? Otto said incredulously. It's not the radio aspect per se that I'm talking about. It's what that represents. The child is an observer. She sees herself as an outsider, as alienated. The child is right. Nothing wrong with being observant when you're alienated. Gets me through my feckin' day. Right. There's nothing wrong with being observant. Other members of this family could benefit from a little of that quality. She can't relate directly to people. Who can? Otto said. Half the time Viola doesn't even remember the child is alive. You watch. She won't send Portia a Christmas present. She probably won't even call. Otto, listen. We've always said that Viola is unstable, but frankly, Viola is psychotic. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Portia's mother, Otto. It's just as you were saying. There's a Janetti. I was saying what? I was saying nothing. I was only saying. Oh dear, Laurie exclaimed. She had an arm around Portia, who was crying. What in hell is going on now? Wesley demanded, slamming down his newspaper. I'm afraid B and Cleveland may have said something to her, Laurie said, apologetically. Oh, terrific, Wesley said. Now I know what I'm paying them for. It's all right, sweetie, Laurie said. It all happened a long time ago. But why are we celebrating that we killed them? Portia asked, started crying afresh. We're not celebrating because we killed the Indians, darling, Laurie said. We're celebrating because we ate dinner with them. Yeah, I have to think about that one too. Portia still believes in Indians, one of the little boys exclaimed. So do we all, Josh, Wesley said. They live at the North Pole and make toys for good little... Wesley, please, Corinne said. Listener Paul, Portia said to her fist. Did we eat dinner with the Indians, or did we kill them? She strode over to Otto and held out her fist. We ate dinner with them, and then we killed them, Otto realised, out loud, to his surprise. Who are you to slag off Thanksgiving, old boy? Wesley said. "You're wearing a fucking bow tie." "So are you, for that matter," Otto said, awkwardly embracing Portia, who was crying again. "And I stand behind my tie," Wesley said, rippling upward from his chair. "It was Portia's birthday last week," Laurie interrupted loudly, and Wesley sank back down. "Wasn't it?" Portia nodded, gulping, and wiped at her tears. "How old are you now, Portia?" William asked. 9, Portia said. "That's great," William said. "Get any good stuff?" Portia nodded again. "And Portia's mummy sent a terrific present, didn't she?" Laurie said. "Oh, what was it, sweetie?" Corinne said. Laurie turned pink, and her head seemed to flare out slightly in various directions. "You don't have to say, darling, if you don't like." Portia held onto the arm of Otto's chair and swung her leg aimlessly back and forth. "My mother gave me 2 tickets to go to Glyndebourne on my 18th birthday," she said in a tiny voice. Wesley snorted. "Got your frock all picked out, Portia?" "I won't be going to Glyndebourne, Uncle Wesley," Portia said with dignity. There was a sudden silence in the room. "Why not, dear?" Otto said. He was trembling, he noticed. Portia looked out at all of them. Tears still clung to her face. "Because," she raised her fist to her mouth again. "Factoid. According to the Mayan calendar, the world is going to end in the year 2012, the year before this reporter's 18th birthday." "All right," Corinne whispered to Otto. "Now do you see?" Well, the world didn't end in 2012. It irrevocably changed, but it did not quite end. Just floundered like a floundering fish for the last 24 years. Is that right? 14 years. 26 we're in, aren't we? Is it only 14 years since 2012? Sure, it seems farther away than that. Well, anyway, we've been left floundering, flapping like a dying fish. The dying of the age of Pisces and the beginning of the age of Aquarius. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, the age of Aquarius. Aquarius. All we need is just another fucking airhead. All hot air and no substance like my fucking perverted evil mother. She was an Aquarian. They're not all bad people, though. I've met a few that were quite nice. Dear goddess. But anyway, the good old Kali Yuga cycle. One world dying while another one is being born. What shall be left in the wake of the resurgent island where the mummity's been left to struggle alone out of sheer envy and spite and weakness and viciousness. Every day sadism, babies. Well, they blew out their minds with the you-know-what, so what can you expect? What can you expect? The lights are on, but nobody's home in their souls anymore. And I witnessed that coming a long time ago too. A long time. I watched it slowly begin to rot. Well, it's not survivable for the mama tea anymore, but yet, here I am. We outlived 9/11, the Mayan calendar apocalypse that didn't quite manifest in the way they said it would. I've outlived the Y2K and Nostradamus' prediction that the world would end in 1996, although for me the world really did end with that strangulation in 1995. Got in early, didn't they? What else have we survived, people of Earth? Fake friends, even worse, disingenuous fake lovers, a rotten putrescent family and their henchmen and enablers, con men, gamblers, pedophiles. I've survived them all. But what is survival really worth at the end of the day? Not much. You're right, as always, Otto said in the taxi later. They're no worse than anyone else's. They're all awful. I really don't see the point in it. Just think, garden, 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 two happy people, and it could have gone on forever. They knew, they'd been told, but they ate it anyway. And from there on out, family, shame, fear, jobs, mortality, envy, murder. Well, William said brightly, and sex. There's that, Otto conceded. In fact, you could look at both family and mortality simply as byproducts of sexual reproduction. I don't really see the point of sexual reproduction either, Otto said. I wouldn't stoop to it. Actually, that's very interesting, you know. They think that the purpose of sexual reproduction is to purge the genome of harmful mutations. Of course, they also seem to think it isn't working. To show you what the birdie boys are up to. Kermie's having a snooze, which is fine. And little Bo is chewing on the new branch, the new perch. Are you having fun there, little Bo? Are you a happy boy? He's a happy boy. Happy boy. Then why not scrap it, Otto said. Why not let us divide again, like our dignified and immortal forebear, the amoeba? William frowned. I'm not really sure that... Joke, Otto said. Oh yes. Well, but I suppose sexual reproduction is fairly entrenched by now, People aren't going to give it up without a struggle. And besides, family confers certain advantages as a social unit, doesn't it? No. What advantages? Oh, rudimentary education? Protection? Education? Huh. Protection? Huh. Besides, William said, it's broadening. You meet people in your family you'd never happen to run into otherwise. Dear goddess, I spent most of my life trying to run away from the creeps. And anyhow, obviously, the desire for children is hardwired. That part is true. What was true in my case anyway. I was determined to have my children. I had to fight for them. My babies. They've got no idea how hard it is I fought for them. Now they hate me anyway. On the brink of global war, and God knows what they have planned for us. I'm left alone with nothing but hating children. And rotting teeth. And professors who tell me I talk too much. Fuck you. Fuck you all. Seriously. Not my YouTube audience who get why I just said that. Blessed be. You're not all rotten. There's some good ones out there. May I be blessed to meet them. Well, I did meet them on the bus coming home from the dentist. First 3 young people, and then the young Polish girl who fell instantly in love with the Slavic, moribund, beaten down, exhausted, grey face from all the dentistry. She really took a shine to me, didn't she? Sweet girl. You see? The gods send me love in the most extraordinary and supernatural ways sometimes. Like a slob on a bus trying to get my way home. What if God was one of us? What if God is all of us? All for one and one for all? What if I just need a bit of tender, loving care for a change? That's genuine and authentic and honouring. Dear Goddess. Keep dreaming, psychedelic dreamer. Keep on dreaming. Here comes the showers, boys. Am I going to have to run you in the house? The king parrot just flew into the tree. He's a happy bird. I think I might have to run you back into the house. We'll see how we go. Might just be a light little sprinkle. Hardwired, the desire of having children is hardwired. Hardwired? You know, that's a term I've really come to loathe. It means nothing. It justifies anything. You might as well say humans have children because the great moth in the sky wants them to. Or humans have children because humans have children. Hardwired? Please. It's lazy, it's specious, it's perfunctory, and it's utterly without depth. Why does it have to have depth? William said. It refers to depth. It's good, clean science. It's not science at all. It's a cliche. It's a redundancy. Otto, why do you always scoff at me when I raise a scientific point? I don't scoff at you. I certainly don't mean to. It's just that this particular phrase, used in this particular way, isn't very interesting. I mean, You're telling me that something is biologically inherent in human experience, but you're not telling me anything about human experience. I wasn't intending to, William said. I wasn't trying to. If you want to talk about human experience, then let's talk about it. All right, Otto said. It was painful, of course, to see William irritated, but almost a relief to know that it could actually happen. Let's then, by all means. So, well, any particular issues? William said. Any questions? Any? Billions. But that was always just the problem. How to disentangle one, how to pluck it up and clothe it in presentable words. Otto stared, concentrating. Questions were roiling in the pit of his mind like serpents. Now a head rising up from the seething mass, now a rattling tail. He closed his eyes. Yes, the rain's coming, my beautiful boys. The rain is coming. Let it rain. It's only Shafta Mayim, water from heaven. He closed his eyes. If only he could get his brain to relax. Relax, 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 relax. Oh, you know, William, is there anything at home to eat? Believe it or not, I'm starving again. There was absolutely no reason to fear that Portia would have anything other than an adequately happy, adequately fruitful life. No reason at all. Oh, how prudent of Sharon not to have come yesterday, though in any case she had been as present to the rest of them as if she had been sitting on the sofa, and the rest of them had probably been as present to her as she had been to them. When one contemplated Portia, when one contemplated Sharon, when one contemplated one's own apparently pointless, utterly trivial being, the questions hung all around one, as urgent as knives at the throat. But the instant one tried to grasp one of them and turn it to one's own purpose and pierce through the murk, it became as blunt and useless as a piece of cardboard. All one could dredge up were platitudes. One comes into the world alone, snore, snore. One, snore, snore, departs the world alone. What would William have to say? Well, it was a wonderful thing to live with an inquiring and mentally active person. No one could quarrel with that. William was immaculate in his intentions, unflagging in his efforts. But what drove one simply insane was the vagueness, or really the banality. Not that it was William's job to explicate the foggy assumptions of one's culture, but one's own ineptitude was galling enough. One hardly needed to consult a vacuity expert. And how could one think at all, or even just casually ruminate, with William practising, as he had been doing since they'd awakened? Otto had forgotten what a strain it all was, even without any exasperating social nonsense. Those few days preceding the concert, you couldn't think You couldn't concentrate on the newspaper. You couldn't even really hear the phone, which seemed to be ringing now. Nor could you make any sense of what the person on the other end of it might be saying. "What?" Otto shouted into it. "You what?" Could he? The phone cackled into the lush sheaves of William's arpeggios. A bribery? Sorted out? "William!" Otto yelled. "Excuse me? Could I what?" The phone cackled some more. "Excuse me," William said. Sorry, Otto said. "William!" The violin went quiet. "Excuse me," Otto said again into the phone, which was continuing to emit gibberish. "Sort what out? Took her where? From the library?" "I'm trying to explain, sir," the phone said. "I'm calling from the hospital. She was taken from the library by force. Unfortunately, sir, as I've tried to explain, she was understood to be homeless. And so she was taken away by force. That could be construed as kidnapping, you know. I'm only reporting what the records indicate, sir. The records do not indicate that your sister was kidnapped. I don't understand. Is it a crime to be homeless? Apparently your sister did not claim to be homeless. Apparently your sister claimed to rent an apartment. Is this not the case? Is your sister in fact homeless?" "My sister is not homeless. My sister rents an apartment. Is that a crime? Why, what does this have to do with why my sister was taken away by force from the library?" "Sir, I'm calling from the hospital." "I'm a taxpayer," Otto shouted. Isn't everyone? That won't help you these days. Nothing helps you. Nothing. I condescend to you because you're stupid enough to pay your taxes and expect decency. Basic human rights. Dear Goddess. Well, little Bo, you don't have to think about these things, little Bo. You just have to be a cute little cockatiel sitting on your perch, chewing wood. "I'm a taxpayer," Otto shouted. William was standing in the doorway, a violin in one hand, bow in the other, watching gravely. "I'm a lawyer. Why is information being withheld from me?" "Indeed. Why indeed? Doesn't just happen to lawyers either. People are there. All that telling you to be quiet and be silent, so they can get away with even more draconian feats of negligence and sadism and viciousness. Information is not being withheld from you, sir, please. I understand that you are experiencing concern, and I'm trying to explain the situation in a way that you will understand what has occurred. It is a policy that homeless people tend to congregate in the library using the restrooms, and some of these people may be removed if, for example, these people exhibit behaviours that are perceived to present a potential danger. It's probably why there were so many homeless people outside the State Library when I went to the Goma Art Gallery. I wondered about that. Oh, it makes sense now. They're using the facilities there. They pay taxes too every time they buy food or, pay for anything, any services. No one gets out of the tax grind, people of Earth. Remember that when you condescend to the homeless and those of us on pensions. We're paying our taxes too. Some of us paid with our lives. Some of us paid and paid and paid so lawyers could help con men divest us of our wealth. Some of us are still paying for the ignominies visited upon us in early childhood. So when you resent us having proper dental care, just remember that you are nothing more than an enabler or an aligner with predators. Are you reading this from something? Is it a crime to use a public bathroom? When people who do not appear to have homes to go to appear to be confused and disoriented, is it a crime to be confused? Please calm down, sir. The evaluation was not ours. What I'm trying to tell you is that, according to the report, your sister became obstreperous when she was brought to the homeless shelter, because she's not homeless. I'd be pissed off if someone dragged me somewhere when I know I've got a perfectly good home to go to. Dear Goddess, they really are that stupid, aren't they? Our services. Draconian, insane idiots. Kermie, you've got a home to live in, Kermie. You're a very rich bird. I bought you the best cages money could buy, and I don't have a lot of money, so that was me being determined to overcompensate for losing our Charlie and the shitty rusted cage that I was about to replace when she died anyway. It was shitful. You've been much luckier birdies than she was. Everything's relative. Everything's relative, my boys. She had all the freedom of the garden that you don't have, though. You've got nice cages, but you have to stay in them all feckin' day long. Whereas Charlie used to sit on my shoulder and climb all over me while I read stories on YouTube. Shattered one of my books, but there's that. Oh, I miss her. I really do miss her. This one's come to see what I'm talking about. Yes, I'm talking to you, little Bo. I'm talking to the little cockatiel boy. The handsome boy. Sweet little boy. Yes. Mama's got to drive to Kapalaba and buy another sack of wild seed mix for the wild birds. Yes, I think I've got enough food put aside for you. I think there'll be enough, but maybe I should buy another bag just in case. If it's true what they say, we won't be able to use our cars anymore. It's funny, I've been thinking for 2 months that I should sell my car. Now will be a bad time to try and sell it. I always fall between the boards. Always. Always fucking unlucky. It's not survivable anymore, that level of atrophy and malfeasance and misfortune. It really isn't. Anyway, I can't think about that. To carry on, people of Earth. She appeared to be disoriented. She did not appear to understand why she was being taken to the homeless shelter. Oh, I'm with her on that one. Shall I go with you? William said when Otto put down the phone. No, Otto said. Stay, please. Practice. So once again, waiting in the dingy whiteness, the fearsome whiteness, no doubt, of heaven, heaven's sensible shoes, overtaxed heaven's obtuse smiles and breathless tranquillity, heaven's asphyxiating clouds dropped over the screams bleeding faintly from behind closed doors. He waited in a room with others, too dazed even to note the television that hissed and bristled in front of them, or to turn the pages of the sticky, dog-eared magazines they held, from which they could have learned how to be happy, wealthy and sexually appealing. They waited, like Otto, to learn instead what it was that destiny had already handed down. Bad. Not that bad. Very, very bad. I think I'm going to be sick. The synchronicities of these stories are just a bit chilling, actually, but unbelievably chilling. Burning of karma, maybe, hopefully in the abstract rather than in real world applications. God knows I've burnt off enough karma in real world applications too. The doctor to whom Otto was eventually conducted through the elderly bowels of the hospital looked like an epic hero, shining, arrogant, supple. She'll be fine now, he said. You'll be fine now, won't you? Sharon's smile, the sudden birth of a little son, and the doctor's own brilliant smile met and ignited for an instant. Otto felt as though a missile had exploded in his chest. Don't try biting any of those guys from the city again, the doctor said, giving Sharon's childishly rounded, childishly humble shoulder a companionable pat. They're poisonous. Bite them? Otto exclaimed, admiration leaping up in him like a dog at a chain-link fence, on the other side of which a team of uniformed men rushed at his defenceless sister with clubs. I did? Sharon cast a repentant, sidelong glance at the doctor. The doctor shrugged and flicked back his blue-black hair, dislodging sparkles of handsomeness. They only allow the beautiful people to succeed, people of Earth. I realised that when I had my gallbladder surgery. Even the cleaners were beautiful. Fascism in practice. I wonder how long that's been going on for. Perhaps decades. The file certainly painted an unflattering portrait of your behaviour. Menaced dentally, it says, or something of the sort. I shouldn't laugh. But you see, synchronicity's falling thick and fast. Well aware, although I haven't bitten anyone. Although I was tempted to bite that German professor, undermining my treatment the way he did. Oh, well, I have to see him again on Tuesday the 24th. I'm quite sure he'll make a point of putting in an appearance. Taking great delight in my vulnerability, no doubt. If he does, maybe I shall bite him too. Just a thought. I'm not that stupid as to bite a professional who's trying to save me from my own government. Now listen, take care of yourself. Follow Dr. Shiga's instructions, because I don't want to be seeing you around here, okay? He and Sharon looked at each other for a moment, then traded a little, level, intimate smile. It's okay with me, she said. Word salad. It's word salad, people of Earth, how they condescend to you. Just go away, little girl. Just be silent. Just take it up the arse. We're on the brink of war and it's going to only get worse and worse and worse and worse. So you're going to have to learn to suck it. Fuck it. I have a say in this matter, people of Earth, more than you realise. My body, my teeth, my autonomy, my existence, my life force, my alienation, my marginalisation, my courage, my fierce determination to fight to the last breath. Not safe anywhere. Never have been, never will be. This is my lived reality. Otto took Sharon to a coffee shop near her apartment and bought her 2 portions of macaroni cheese. See? A woman who has a healthy appetite knows that'll settle up. What are you chewing, little Kermie? What's that you've got in your claw? happy boys? Very happy boys. My beautiful boys. How was it, she said. How was everyone? Thanksgiving? Oh, you didn't miss much. She put down her fork. Aren't you going to have anything, Otto? I'll have something later with William, he said. Oh, she said. She sat very still. Of course, he was a monster. Well, no one was perfect, but in any case, her attention returned to her macaroni. Not surprising that she was ravenous. How long had her adventures lasted? Her clothing was rumpled and filthy. I didn't know you liked the library, he said. Don't think I'm not grateful for the computer, she said. It was down. He nodded and didn't press her. There was a bottle of wine breathing on the table, and William had managed to manoeuvre dinner out of the mysterious little containers and the limp bits of organic matter from the fridge, which Otto had inspected earlier in a doleful search for lunch. Bad? William asked. Fairly, Otto said. Want to tell me? William said. Otto gestured impatiently. Oh, what's the point? Okay, William said. Mustard with that? It's good. I can't stand it that she has to live like this, Otto said. William shook his head. Everyone is so alone, he said. Otto yelped. What? William said. What did I do? Nothing, Otto said. He stood trying to control his trembling. I'm going to my study. You go on upstairs when you get tired. Otto, just please. He sat downstairs in his study with a book in his hand, listening while William rinsed the dishes and put them in the dishwasher and went finally upstairs. For some time, footsteps persisted oppressively in the bedroom overhead. When they ceased, Otto exhaled with relief. Just see how much more of the story we have. Right. I think we can knock this one out of the park at long last, people of Earth. A pale tincture spread into the study window. The pinched little winter sun was rising over the earth above the neighbours' buildings. Otto listened while William came down and made himself breakfast, then returned upstairs to practice once again. The day loomed heavily in front of Otto, like an opponent judging the moment to strike. How awful everything was. How awful he was. How bestial he had been to William. William, who deserved only kindness, only gratitude. And yet, the very thought of glimpsing that innocent face was intolerable. It had been a vastly unpleasant night in the chair, and it would be hours, he knew, before he'd be able to manage an apology without more denunciations leaping from his treacherous mouth. But will his mouth be open, or will it be closed? Hours seemed to be passing, in fact. Or maybe it was minutes. The clock said 7, said 10, said 12, said 12, said 12. Seemed to be delirious. Fortunately, there were leftovers in the fridge. Well, if time was the multiplicity Sharon and William seemed to believe it was, maybe it contained multiple Sharons. I wish they'd fuck off. I really do. I'm being irrational because I need to mow the lawns, you understand, but... Well, that's different. It's a different thing now. It's a truck backing up. Oh, it's endless, isn't it? I shall look forward to Valhalla. Feasting with the other Valkyries, with honourable men. Are there any honourable men left on planet Earth? Let us hope so. Oh no, that was the truck taking away the slasher. Alright, we might have a bit of peace again for however long that shall last, dear goddess. We read that. I have to read from the top of that paragraph again because I've lost where we were. Just wait for yet another truck to disappear. Things I have to put up with living in this gem box constantly being gentrified, and well, they're just waiting for my house for me to die so they can do the same here. It's awful, isn't it? All my beautiful trees will be butchered. It's awful. That sounded like the king parrot. Is my king here? Where's my king? Just gonna go and look for him. I can hear you, beautiful boy. Anyway. I can't see him in amongst the foliage. Anyway, where were we? What if time was the multiplicity Sharon and William seemed to believe it was? Maybe it contained multiple Sharons, perhaps some existing in happier conditions before the tracks diverged, one set leading up into the stars, the other down to the hospital. Otto's mind wandered here and there amid the dimensions, catching glimpses of her skirt, her hair, her hand, as she slipped through the mirrors. Did things have to proceed for each of the Sharons in just exactly the same way? Did each one grieve for the Olympian destiny that ought to have been hers? Did each grieve for an ordinary life, a life full of ordinary pleasures and troubles, children, jobs, lovers? Everyone's so alone. For this, all the precious Sharons had to flounder through their loops and tucks of eternity. For this, the shutters were drawn on their aerial and light-filled minds. Each and every Sharon, thrashing through the razor-edged days, only in order to be absorbed by the spongy platitude. everyone is so alone. Great God, how could it be endured? All the Sharons, for ever and ever, discarded in a phrase. And those Ottos, sprinkled through the zones of actuality, what were the others doing now? The goldfish gliding within the severe perimeter of water. William pausing to introduce himself. Yes, so of course one felt incomplete. Of course one felt obstructed and blind, and perhaps every creature on earth, on all the earths, was straining at the obdurate membranes to reunite as its own original entity, the spark of unique consciousness allocated to each being. Only then to be irreconcilably refracted through world after world by the prism of time. No wonder one tended to feel so fragile. It was infuriating enough just trying to have contact with a few other people, let alone with all of one's selves. To think there could be an infinitude of selves, and not an iota of latitude for any of them. An infinitude of Ottos, lugging around that personality, those circumstances, that appearance, not only once dreary and pointless, but infinitely so. Oh, was there no escape? Perhaps if one could only concentrate hard enough, they could be collected, all those errant, enslaved selves. And I'm being attacked by ants, if you're wondering why I'm fidgeting. And, ouch, in the triumphant instant of their reunification, purified to an unmarked essence, the suffocating Otto costumes dissolving, a true freedom, at last. Oh, my little handsome boy, Kermit. Are you having a little snoozy poosy? You snoozy birdie boys. You sleepy boys. Does Mama's voice put you to sleep? It's not terribly exciting, is it? No. Oh, how tired he was. But why not make a monumental effort? Because Naomi and Margaret were arriving at 9 to show off this baby of theirs, that was why not. But anyhow, what on earth was he thinking? Still, at least he could apologise to William. He was himself, but at least he could go fling that inadequate self at William's feet. No, at the very least, he could let poor, deserving William practice undisturbed. He'd wait patiently, and when William was finished, William would come downstairs. Then Otto could apologise abjectly, spread every bit of his worthless being at William's feet, and comfort him and be comforted, reassure him and be reassured. At a few minutes before 9, William appeared, whistling. Good practice session, Otto said. His voice came out cracked. As if it had been hurled against the high prison walls of himself. Terrific, William said, and kissed him lightly on the forehead. Otto opened his mouth. You know, he said. Oh, listen, William said. There really is a baby. And faintly interspersed among Naomi and Margaret's familiar creakings and bumpings in the hall, Otto heard little chirps and gurgles. Hello, William cried, flinging open the door. Look, isn't she fabulous? We think so, Naomi said, her smile renewing itself. Well, she is. I can't see if you do that, Margaret said, disengaging the earpiece of her glasses and a clump of her red crimpy hair from the baby's fist as she attempted to transfer the baby over to William. Here. Naomi held out a bottle of champagne. Take this too? Well, but you can't keep the baby. Well, look, she's fascinated by Margaret's hair. I mean, who isn't? Otto wasn't, despite his strong feelings about hair in general. Should we open this up and drink it, he said, his voice a mechanical voice, his hand a mechanical hand, accepting the bottle. That was the idea, Naomi said. She blinked up at Otto, smiling hopefully and rocking slightly from heel to toe. Now we're being rained upon. Can't seem to win today. Some days are like that, isn't it? Just gotta keep going with the flow, babies. Sit everyone, William said. Oh, she's sensational. Otto turned away to open the champagne and pour it into the lovely glasses somebody or another had given to them some time or another. Well, cheers, William said. Congratulations, and here's to Molly, Margaret said. We decided to keep it simple. We figured she's got so much working against her already, Naomi said, including a couple of geriatric moms with a different ethnicity, and God only knows what infant memories, whatever you call that stuff you don't remember. We figured we'd name her something nice, and that didn't set up all kinds of expectations. Just a nice, friendly, pretty name, and she can take it from there. She'll be taking it from there in any case, Otto said grimly. The others looked at her. I love Maggie, Naomi said. I always wanted a Maggie, but Margaret said, well, Margaret shrugged. I mean, no, I know, Naomi said, but Margaret rolled a little white quilt out on the rug. Plunked down on it, the baby sat, wobbling, with an expression of surprise. Look at her, William said. Here's hoping, Margaret said, raising her glass. It was so marvellous. Humans were born where they lived. They glued themselves together in little clumps, and then they died. 'Twas no more, as William had once cheerfully explained, than a way for genes to perpetuate themselves. The selfish gene, he'd said, quoting, probably detrimentally, someone. You were put on Earth to fight for your DNA. Only they didn't fight for their DNA, did they? They gave it up 6 years ago. Almost all of them gave it up. And now we have war in Iran, and God only knows what comes next. It's amazing how quickly they cede and quit and yield to every fucking monster. To take a moment. I have to take a moment, people of Earth. Galvanise my sanity together. 30 years of therapy is not for naught and not wasted on me. I've been galvanising since early childhood. I had to survive those other monsters who betrayed their own selves along with their DNA too. Right, here we go. Let the organisms. Well, people of Earth. Let the organisms chat. Let them talk. Their voices were as empty as the tinklings of the player piano. Let the organisms talk about this and that. It was what, as William had so trenchantly pointed out, this particular carbon-based life form did, just as its cousin, according to William, the roundworm, romped ecstatically beneath the surface of the planet. He tried to intercept the baby's glossy, blurry stare. The baby was actually attractive for a baby, and not bald at all, as it happened. Hello, Otto thought to it. Let's you and I communicate in some manner far superior to the verbal one. The baby ignored him. Whatever she was making of the blanket, the table legs, the shod sets of feet, she wasn't about to let on to Otto. Well, see if he cared. William was looking at him too. So what was he supposed to do? Oh, all right. He'd contribute, despite his current clarity of mind. And how was China, he asked. Was the food as bad as they say? Naomi looked at him blankly. Well, I don't know, actually, she said. Honey, how was the food? The food, Margaret said. Not memorable, apparently. The things people have to do in order to have children, Otto said. We toyed with the idea of giving birth, Margaret said. That is, Naomi toyed with it. At first, Naomi said, I thought, what a shame to miss an experience that nature intended for us. And I mean, there was a sky at work, or of course, there's always. But then I thought, what am I, an idiot? I mean, just because you've got arms and legs, it doesn't mean you have to. No, William said, but still I can understand how you felt. Have to what? Margaret said. I can't, Otto said. Have to what? Margaret said. I can't understand it, Otto said. I've just never envied the capacity. Others are awestruck, not I. I've never even remotely wished I were able to give birth, and in fact, I've never wanted a baby. Of course, it's inhuman not to want one, but I'm just not human. I'm not a human being. William is a human being. Maybe William wanted a baby. I never thought to ask. Was that what you were trying to tell me the other day, William? Were you trying to tell me that I've ruined your life? Did you want a baby? Have I ruined your life? Well, it's too bad. I'm sorry. I was too selfish ever to ask if you wanted one. And I'm too selfish to want one myself. I'm more selfish than my own genes. I'm not fighting for my DNA. I'm fighting against it. I'm happy as I am, William said. He sat, his arms wrapped tightly around himself, looking at the floor. The baby coughed. Who needs more champagne? You see, Otto said, into the tundra of silence William left behind as he retreated into the kitchen. I really am a monster. Miles away, Naomi sat blushing, her hands clasped in her lap. Then she scooped up the baby. There, she said. But Margaret sat back, eyebrows raised in semicircles, contemplating something that seemed to be hanging a few feet under the ceiling. Oh, I don't know, she said, and the room shuttled back into proportion. I suppose you could say it's human to want a child, in the sense that it's biologically mandated. What I mean, you could say that, or you could say it's simply unimaginative, or you could say it's unselfish, or you could say it's selfish, or you could say pretty much anything about it at all. Or you could just say, well, I want one. But when you get right down to it, really, one what? Because actually, I mean, well, look at Molly. I mean, actually, they're awfully specific. I suppose I meant like crawl around on all fours or something, Naomi said. I mean, just because you've got... But look, there they already are, all these babies, So many of them, just waiting, waiting, waiting on the shelves for someone to take care of them. We could have gone to Romania. We could have gone to Guatemala. We could have gone almost anywhere. Just for various reasons, we decided to go to China. And we both really liked the idea, Margaret said, that you could go as far away as you could possibly get, and there would be your child. Uh-huh, Naomi nodded soberly. How crazy is that? I abase myself, Otto told William as they washed and dried the champagne glasses. I don't need to tell you how deeply I regret having embarrassed you in front of Naomi and Margaret. He clasped the limp dish towel to his heart. How deeply I'll regret having been insufficiently mawkish about the miracle of life. I don't need to tell you how ashamed I'll feel the minute I calm down. How deeply I regret having trampled your life, and how deeply I'll regret being what I am. Well, that last part I regret already. I profoundly regret every tiny crumb of myself. I don't need to go into it all once again, I'm sure. Just send back the form, pertinent boxes checked. I intend to accept your forthcoming apology for... Please stop, William said. Oh, how awful to have ruined the life of such a marvellous man. Have I ruined your life? You can tell me. We're friends. Otto, I'm going upstairs now. I didn't sleep well last night and I'm tired. Yes, go upstairs. Good night, William said. Yes, go to sleep. Why not? Oh, it was like trying to pick a fight with a dog toy. Just you go on off to sleep. Otto, listen to me. My concert is tomorrow. I want to be able to play adequately. I don't know why you're unhappy. You do interesting work. You're admired. We live in a wonderful place. We have wonderful friends. We have everything we need and most of the things we want. We have excellent lives by anyone's standard. I'm happy and I wish you were. I know that you've been upset these last few days. I asked if you wanted to talk and you said you didn't. Now you do. But this happens to be the one night of the year when I most need my sleep. Can it wait till tomorrow? I'm very tired, and you're obviously very tired as well. Try and get some sleep, please. Try and get some sleep. Try and get some sleep. This is unbearable. I've spent the best years of my life with a man who doesn't know how to use the word and. And is not part of the infinitive. And means in addition to. It's not a try and get some sleep. It's try to get some sleep. Two. Please try to get some sleep. Otto sat down heavily at the kitchen table and began to sob. How arbitrary it all was, and cruel. This identity, that identity. Otto, William, Portia, Molly, the doctor. She'd be up now, sitting at her own kitchen table, the white enamel table, with a cup of tea, thinking about something, about numbers, streaming past in stately sequences, about remote astral pageants. The doctor had rested his hand kindly on her shoulder, and what she must have felt then. Oh, to convert that weight of the world's compassion into something worthwhile. The taste, if only she could have lifted his hand and kissed it. The living satin feel of his skin. Everyone had to put things aside for good. The way they had smiled at one another, she and that doctor. What can you do? Their smiles had said. The handsome doctor in his handsome doctor suit, and Sharon in her dishevelled lunatic suit. Oh, what a charade. In this life, Sharon's little spark of consciousness would be costumed inescapably as a waif at the margins of mental organisation. And the doctors would be costumed inescapably as a flashing exemplar of supreme competence in this life, and frankly, there would be no other. The hospital was where they would meet. Otto, a hand was resting on Otto's shoulder. William, Otto said. It was William. They were in the clean, dim kitchen. The full moon had risen high over the neighbours' buildings, where the lights were almost all out. Had he been asleep? He blinked up at William, whose face, shadowed against the light of the night sky, was as inflected, as ample in mystery as the face and the moon. It's late, my darling, Otto said. I'm tired. What are we doing down here? And thus concludes Some Other Better Otto by Deborah Eisenberg. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Painfully, poignantly reminiscent of my current timelines, blurring and merging of timelines in existence. But it is what it is, people of Earth. On we go, on we go. We're spiralling out into infinity like a fucking supernova on the wings of a prayer. And that vain creature called hope. Bye for now.